Well, I thought I'd make a little video here and show what I get paid for milk for November. And a lot of these numbers, I'm not exactly sure who sets everything. Like I say, right now I'm in Federal Order 33, and that covers all this area: Michigan, Ohio, parts of Indiana, and down and around. And this is where I am right here, just south of Lake Erie, south of Erie. And some of these numbers is set because of the federal order. Some of these numbers are set because I'm in Pennsylvania. Some of them are set by DFA. I'm not exactly sure who sets all, but this is what's for our area where I'm at. You know, some of these numbers might be different in Ohio. They might be different in Michigan, especially the deduction parts. I don't know really what the price are, but I do know like the price for I get paid what's called component pricing, and they pay you for the butter fat, the protein, the other solids. All them numbers are pretty much the same in our area, regardless if you're sending to Dean's, DFA, and there's Farmers Union. Because I sat with a guy that shipped milk through Farmers Union, and we compared milk checks side by side, and everything was paid the same, except for where the market premiums come in. DFA paid a different premium or whatever. Just depends what their markets are. So some of that changed a little bit. But the first thing that happens when the milk gets picked up, they pull a sample from the tank as it's pumping onto the truck. And then when that truck gets to the milk plant, they pull a sample off the truck and test it for antibiotics. And if the truckload clears, then the sample goes for the rest. Well, either way, it's still because they need the components, because if it tests as positive for antibiotics, they go back and test all the samples, and whoever had the antibiotics in their milk just bought that truckload of milk. So they still test all the other samples, get components, because everybody's got to be paid for the milk regardless on that truck. But if that load clears, then the sample is used for your components for the month. And then what they test for the butter, fat, protein, other solids, the Cellmatic cell. They only pull that once a month. That's a bacteria test. This one usually indicates how well your tank's cooling. And that one, they only pull that one once a month. Like this first one here is a health department test. And they do pull an antibiotic test on that one. But they are testing all. But this is actually what they send to the health department. So they test it for the antibiotics then. PI count, this one indicates how clean your equipment is. It's another bacteria count. LPC, that's another one on the cleanliness of your equipment, but that also indicates, like if you have old rubber parts and stuff, basically what throws that one high. And the freeze point, this tells them if you're adding water to the milk, basically. So, like I said, they pull tests on all these. When they do the butter fat, what they do is they take your weight. We'll say they get your test there of 4.5, and like I say, they'll take the weight of your milk, multiply it by your percentage, and get how many pounds of butter fat. And then they'll do that for the protein. They do that for the other solids, and then they do that for the cell count. Now these, they total up the weights and they use them to calculate in your check. Cell counts, they do the average as long as all these. Now for this month, November, I had a 4.7% average butter fat, 315 protein, 5.5 other solids, 185 cell count. PI count was 30. That's high for the good side. They like to see these single digits. Like I had 1 month go to 100. That's a bad test there. But all it takes is a cow knocking a milker off and you can run a high test. But for the month I averaged 30, which is good, but it's on the high side for what they really want. LPC was 328. That one is way off. Still don't know what was causing that. I mean, here in December, I'm still trying to figure this one out. Got this one down now, but this one's up higher. So I think I got a bad batch of soap because I've tore the pipeline apart, all new hose, all new rubber parts in the pipeline and stuff. I'm still getting high counts. So here in the last week, I got some different soap and trying that because the soap I got, you can't smell no chlorine or anything to it. I think I got a bad, because all these counts started going up about the time I opened up this jug of soap. So that's why I'm thinking I got bad soap. And then I didn't write down, figure out the average of this. But this has got to be over 0.529. Maybe it's 525. I think it's pretty sure it's 529. So the lower this goes, the more water is being added to the tank. So they can tell if you're adding water. Then they take them numbers and it comes to your check. And they'll take your pounds of protein. This is butterfat. Now this is, when I compared to the neighbor's milk check, the butterfat, the protein, the other solids were the same for both of us. The producer price differential, that one fluctuated. The cell count adjusters different. Quality programs are different. DFA premium, that's how much, usually determined by how much of a grade A market they have. So that fluctuates between us. Now some of these, the other guy was higher on than DFA was. So, but like I said, that's why we had to compare side by side. We went down. It actually worked out, and like I said, this is like 3 years ago, that he was getting paid more per hundredweight than me. But he was getting higher deductions too. They were taking more hauling and stuff out of him. In the end, it came down to my milk check was probably about $200 or $300 more if I had switched over to them. But there's other factors to consider too. So, and in the end, here it's a good thing I didn't, because that company lost their contract where they were shipping milk to. Now he's shipping grade B milk until they can find another contract, which is probably not going to happen. And then they got market adjustment. That fluctuates. I'm not exactly sure what determines that. Like I said, this market adjustment might be determined by the federal order. These might be, you know, each one's different. So what they do is after they find all your pounds, the butter, fat, and protein, other solids on here, they transfer them over here. And they take that, and right now in November, I got paid, who's blocking my light? They paid 3.3193 cents a pound of protein, and they multiply that out. Protein, they paid 3.9118 per pound. Other solids was 11.111 cents, 11 cents basically. Now this is what's screwy. Okay, you got producer price differential. I don't completely understand this, but they took $2.34 a hundred out of me. Now basically the way I understand why this was described to me is, see, this month's class 3 price sets next month's class 2 price, which sets the next month's class 1 price. So what they're paying for class 3 this month is determine the price 2 months out. But the class 3 price, it did or is, I'm not sure how this all works, is raising faster than the class 1. When this number is negative, it's indicating that the price of milk is going up. So that's what they told me. The negative number here is basically good. Now if this was like $3, that's bad, I guess, because the price of milk's going down. But here they took $2.34 a hundred out of me. Then you got the CellMag cell count adjuster. They pay 18 cents. Well, I guess this fluctuates. It depends on your CellMag cell count. Mine was, I got paid 18 cents a hundred. So this will take your total production for the month, divide it by 100, and times it by 18 cents. And that's what I got there. And then they come up with that there's a subtotal. And then the quality, I didn't get quality this month, but like I say, because that LPC was too high. And I'm going to make a video about the quality program, because if you think this is confusing, you almost need to know rocket science to do this. I'll show the quality program because there's so much involved in that to calculate it, but I missed quality this month. And then the DFA premium, they paid 90 cents a hundred, so that's the same thing. They'll take your weight, times it by, or divide it by 100, multiply it by 90 cents. And the market adjustment, as I say, I'm not exactly sure what that determines or who determines it, but they took 60 cents a hundred out of me. So then they take all them numbers, they add them up, and then if you take your total production, divide it by 100, divide that into your total check, it came out to, I keep getting that shadow, $23.36913 a hundred is what I got paid for November. Well, then comes your deductions. Okay, first thing they take is advertising and promotion. This is like your beef check off, your pork check off. They took 15 cents a hundred out of me. And this is another one of them deals, what the hell do they use it for? You don't see milk ads anymore. They used to fund a thing, we used to get flyers, the 4-H kids did, that you could send into this and get like pencils and wristbands and erasers, and you could ask for 2 different things free that you could distribute to events. In the 4-H group, a couple people would do the pencils and erasers, somebody would do coloring books and something else, and we'd get this stuff, and we'd put them out for people to take at the fair. Don't get that stuff anymore. You don't see ads anymore. It's like the beef checkoff, pork checkoff. You don't see ads anywhere for that, but yet they're taking advertising promotion. I've heard like McDonald's, they use money to work with McDonald's for determine what size or shape of jugs or something to put with them Happy Meals and stuff. So they do something with it. I don't know. CWT investment, I'm not sure what that is anymore. It's like another checkoff or something. I guess I see a lot of stuff. They take it. I don't pay attention to it, and they explain it, and it makes no sense to me. But they took 4 cents a hundred for that. Marketing fees. DFA takes 0.2. I can't see what I'm doing here. 0.20698 cents. And this is basically to cover their office expense to send me the check and figure all this stuff out, I guess. This is for their work. Then you got hauling. The milk hauler, he took $1.64, basically a hundred out of me. Fuel surcharge, still the milk hauler. He took another 12 cents. Now that fluctuates. See, the milk hauler has 2 options. They can have I get charged a stop charge, so much a hundred, and then the fuel surcharge. Now they could either do this where the fuel surcharge fluctuates every month, and they can only change the price, I guess, once a year if they need to adjust their price. Or they have the option of they could fix it. They could have their stop charge in their hauling rate, and then they can only change anything every 6 months or something. Most guys use a fuel surcharge. This is the one that pisses me off. Destination hauling. They take 27 cents a hundred out of me. The way this was explained to me is, since DFA is a co-op, everybody has to share in the profits and losses equally. And since there's such a surplus of milk out there and they have so much excess charges in hauling, this money goes into a fund to pay haulers that have to truck milk extra distances than they normally would have to haul. It is also used for, one thing is, Michigan is a surplus state, basically, what I was told. They don't have the processing capabilities up there for the milk they have. So a lot of that Michigan milk is coming down in here into Pennsylvania, actually the cheese plant where I send to. So they're using this money to pay truckers to bring that milk down here. Now, to me, this money is subsidizing Michigan for their oversurplus off of me. Now, if they would want to take 27 cents out of me and charge them $1 because they're the ones that have to have the milk trucked, I'd be fine with it. But basically, they're getting charged the same as me, so they're subsidizing them from me. Now, DFA has built a condensing plant up there, so every truckload of milk they're bringing from there down to here is like equivalent to 2.5 truckloads of milk. And they say it's supposed to enhance the product. See, my milk does go to a cheese plant, but that's one thing with DFA. If they had I am grade A milk. If there was a market where they needed the grade A milk and DFA had a contract to fill, my milk would go in there. But DFA doesn't own a fluid plant or anything around here. They own that cheese plant. So what milk they can't find a market to go somewhere else goes into that cheese plant. They used to have a plant up in Erie called Meadowbrooks. That was a Dean's plant that DFA was supplying. Well, like I say, Dean's, after Dean's shut off them farms there 2 years ago, they ended up closing that plant, so that's not around here anymore. So, and then these deductions, you know, one milk supply company, they do a milk check deduction, and this is just bills there. But if you take all this here and subtract it off that $23, they take, deduction-wise, there's $2.44 in deductions. My final pay price after deductions, I got paid $20.93 a hundred for November's milk. So it's all a little bit confusing, but and like I say, some of that stuff, I mean, it gets explained to me, and then I kind of forget. Like I say, don't really make that much difference to me, but like I say, this stuff here they're taking here, that's CWT, the promotion, like I say, destination hauling really pisses me off. So that's just, hope it's somewhat understandable, but it gets confusing. But yeah, like I say, that's what I got paid per hundredweight before deductions, $23.37. And by the time they take deductions, I got $20.93. Now, like I say, it's supposed to be, should be going up here. Now, if you talk to some other guys, I bet other guys are going to be probably $18, $17 here yet. Biggest thing is you've got to remember is, you go back here even to butter, fat, and protein. I have a 4-7 butter fat test. All right? But I got a lot of color breeds, a lot of jerseys. Now, if somebody's milking Holsteins and they have a 3-7 butter fat test, they're actually getting paid $2.32 a hundred less than I'm getting. Protein, I'm running, what the hell do I have? A 3.5% protein. Okay, say somebody had a 3% protein. We're getting paid $3.91. That's almost another $2 a hundred. So somebody, they could be getting $4 a hundred less than what I got here just because they're milking all Holsteins. But the color breeds give less milk. You know, a Jersey might only give 60 pounds where a Holstein's giving 100 pounds. So it might be almost a wash on that. But then, since I'm sending less milk, I got less trucking taken out of me. So like I say, this all becomes a numbers game. You know, I am sending less milk than most guys would on a tank average. But like I say, I'm making it up in components. And going to a cheese plant, that's good too, because the higher the components, the higher the yield of cheese. So they're actually handling less volume to get more cheese, and then they have less to dispose of. So it's a benefit for them too. And that's why there's a lot of cheese plants out here that only want Jersey milk, because it's a higher component, and they have, you know, they get more cheese out of less milk and have less waste to worry about. So, but like I say, I might eventually here I'll get the paper and show how DFA's paying their quality program. Because Dean's around here, they discontinued their quality program 2 years ago, so a lot of guys are pissed about that. So, but who knows what's going to happen with DFA? DFA's going to buy out Dean's. I don't know how all of Dean's, or You know, because it's going to have to go through the trade commission and stuff. They may only allow them to buy certain plants, certain areas or something, but there's going to be something worked out with that eventually. So, but like I said, I thought I'd share that, and I didn't think this video would take this long to make. But there's some real numbers for you and what I got. Of course, I'm not going to tell you what I send volume-wise. I'm not going to let you see my year-to-date. You know, some of that's personal information. I'll show all this because this is pretty common between any company. Deductions, you know, pretty much everybody's taking the same amount of deductions. Like it just depends where you're sending Deans or Land O'Lakes or whatever. You know, the deductions might be different. This might be different. But like I say, I don't know who determines all this, but like I said, I know when I went with the neighbor, all these numbers up here were pretty much right on. It's just like the market adjustment and the cell count adjuster, that I think DFA determines that. And like I say, it's all depending on what the markets they have. So thanks for watching, and maybe you'll see this video tonight. This is going to take forever to upload. 21 minutes. I didn't think it would get this long, but thanks for watching.